Hey guys, Zane here with another One Take review, and today I wanted to talk about the new Tate McRae album, I Used to Think I Could Fly. I Used to Think I Could Fly is the debut album from pop musician Tate McRae, the latest contender to step into the ring, up against the likes of people like Olivia Rodrigo for the title belt of angst-ridden teenage idol kind of figures within the music industry right now. Perhaps it's just the major oversaturation of this sound in recent memory that sours my opinions on McRae's music, but I used to think that I Could Fly isn't even laughably bad, it's just ridiculously annoying. Virtually every song on this album feels wildly unfinished, from the toothless bite of songs like What's Your Problem to the faux plastic sorrow of tracks like the album closer I Still Say Goodnight. It would be easy to argue that this is because the majority of the songs here don't even crack 3.5 minutes, but as a number of major pop musicians within recent years like Rina Sawayama or Lil Nas X have proven and cemented, you don't need more than a couple of minutes to make a really excellent pop song in the mainstream world of music, so Tate McRae has no excuse here. I Used to Think That I Could Fly is a lazy, half-hearted attempt at singer-songwriter-related pop music that simply doesn't care enough about its own existence to try to develop the base ideas of dramatics and heartbroken lyrics that it bases itself around. The unfinished aspect of this record can especially be seen in the transitions from song to song. Now, obviously, not everything needs to be a concept album, and a record like I Used to Think I Could Fly definitely has the right to not smoothly transition, beautifully at least, from song to song without any sort of breaking in between. The least that it could do, and something that McRae refuses to do, is have track placement make even the slightest bit of sense here. Transitions are virtually non-existent here, as very upbeat pop-rock-esque songs are followed directly by very somber ballads, which ultimately cancels out any and all potential emotion that could be delivered by either style. I could really take any two back-to-back tracks here as an example for this lack of cohesion, and this lack of cohesion really just ultimately solidifies my kind of conspiracy theory that this record was put together by robots and that Tate McRae isn't even a real person. In fact, the only reason that I'm not being totally genuine with that is the fact that she's done interviews, because otherwise this just sounds like the most manufactured, haphazardly thrown together pop record I've heard in a little while. McRae herself isn't even that incredible as a performer. In fact, she's not even remotely impressive if I'm being honest. Her vocal delivery is paper thin at best as far as emotional delivery goes, and she just kind of coasts through every song with all the personality of a deflated balloon, but then again, deflated balloons have more personality, whereas they can be amusing, and Tate McRae is just mind-numbing. Her songwriting skills are equally as amateurish, as many songs here that desperately try to tug at your heartstrings fail to do so, and will probably leave you in tears from either laughter or cringe than actually from nostalgia or heartbreak. This record tries to make you so empathetic towards McRae here, but if this album were personified, I would immediately suggest that anybody that was dating it break up with it. The only potential saving grace that I Used to Think I Could Fly potentially had was Tate McRae delivering some solid work as a performer, but she completely fails to even do anything a quarter of a way close to half decent. Now, with all of that being said, while I do consider all of my previous points totally valid and I stand by them, I do recognize that at least a slight bit of my dislike towards this record is simply because it replicates a sound that has been collectively shoved down the world's throat. Whether it's her heartbroken, poppy piano crooning singer-songwriter side or her trap-influenced R&B side, Tate McRae feels like the ultimate result of the combination of the many different tropes and stereotypes that have been developed in modern pop and R&B music within recent years. No matter what genre or style she attempts to approach, it's always one that's just been viciously overdone over the past several years, the past several months even. And even though I don't think I would enjoy this album if it were totally unique within the musical landscape anyways, I can't deny that the just repetition that's being brought about by this album into the music industry is something that's definitely contributory towards my dislike for it. Frankly, I would happily see albums like I Used to Think I Could Fly and similar releases out the door of the music industry, but I don't think it's a sound going away anytime soon, and I guess I'm just gonna have to deal with that. but still, that doesn't make it any better. I still think that this is just an insanely repetitious sound that has been just painfully overdone in recent years, but unfortunately, people like Tate McRae are keeping it alive and doing it very poorly at that. So overall, for somebody that said she studied albums like Billie Eilish's When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go, or Frank Ocean's Blonde, Tate McRae is one of the most grating and trope-ridden musicians in the past few years to emerge in the pop scene. And yes, she said that she studied those albums, two incredibly powerful and creatively distinct records, in the making of this album, which may be one of the least distinct albums I've heard in a while. If anything, besides the fact that it's simply just not a good album in the first place, I Used to Think I Could Fly definitely kind of shows that any genre reaching the top of the music industry, no matter how good, can be very bad for the overall quality of it if it's just, again, repeatedly being shoved into the mainstream conscience. It becomes kind of tiring very quickly, which is why I'm going to give I Used to Think I Could Fly half a star out of 5. I've never done that before, and I think I will rarely be doing it from this point on out. But this is just truly an album that has no redeeming qualities. Tate McRae isn't an engaging performer, the instrumentals are unmemorable at best, any emotion that tries to show through in any way, be it positive or negative, moody, upbeat, whatever, it doesn't work at all. It all feels incredibly phony and thin, and nothing works here whatsoever, and the lack of correlation between the different tracks certainly doesn't help. So again, half a star, and with that being said, that's the end of this review, and I'll see you guys in the next one.